Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you to wake up from your nap because something exciting is finally happening this weekend. That's right. It's us. We're what's happening. That's finally fun. We got UFOs, Tiger Woods. Can he come back from this? Is Bill Gates really controlling the weather, the lightning rebound, and what in the heck is going on with Mr. Potato Head? I am B Love. We have TSG, the Chief, and Pooh Bear has a dog. Let's have some fun tonight. This is the main event. So when the heck did y'all get a dog?
Last Saturday. So
I feel like I don't even know you anymore, man.
Well, you know, it's not mine, so I didn't really go out there and say, "Hey, look what I got." You know,
dude, that dog makes one mistake on the couch, it's over. We all know that couch is, you know, there's strict rules involved there.
I can promise you, this dog is gonna have a lot more grace than you had, sir.
No, come on, oh my gosh.
I've already seen this dog do things that any other human would have been abused for.
And it's just okay. The dog just gets a bye because
he's just a puppy. He's just a warning. It's okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Hey, happy birthday to Kara, by the way.
Yes, she just popped out. Happy birthday, Kara. She walked away.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a kind of a crazy week with that. It's a new puppy in my house this is the first time. I haven't owned the dog since I was probably a teenager. My parents had some.
Let's face it, your track record around dogs isn't amazing. Because your first time at my house, you almost killed my dog.
All right. Hey, it wasn't the first time.
I gotta hear this story. I gotta hear this.
First time at my house, he has a drink in one hand and like a sandwich or cupcakes. I can't remember what it was in the other. He's come over to watch football with Dirty, and he's rounding the corner on the couch. The dog takes him out, dude. Pooh Bear goes down like Foy got him. I mean, he goes.
Sarge came at me.
He got the dog's 12 inches tall. Takes him down, and listen, I'll say this, Pooh Bear, though, an amazing save. Saves the drink, saves the sandwich, or what was it, sandwich or cupcakes?
It was both.
It was both. I knew there was some cupcakes in there.
And it wasn't my first time at your house, for the record.
Oh, second time.
It was the second time. It was well into that. But you are correct. I had a Subway sandwich, a cellophane wrapped thing of cupcakes from Publix, and a drink in my hand. I had the sandwiches like dangling from my pinky. But you're right, Sarge got in there, and I went down. I did the whole Matrix thing. Didn't hurt the dog, didn't spill a thing, and the Buccaneers won.
It was amazing to watch. It was. I had a front row seat to the whole thing, and the dog was gray immediately afterwards. So he's like, "Oh my gosh, he's a basset hound." He really wasn't that big, and he's like this giant just came crashing down next to me.
And I think he jumped in my lap right after that.
He might have.
I'm not even kidding. I think probably. I think he jumped right out for me.
Yeah. You had a sandwich, yeah.
So, but
wow. So, what'd you name the dog?
His name is Chip. Huh. He it's the first thing. As a matter of fact, again, it was my. I got to pick the name. So
you named the dog. It is your dog. It is your dog.
As soon as I saw it, he looked like a chocolate chip cookie. Let's see if I have a picture of him.
Oh wow! Now he's pulling. It's his baby book Pooh Bear right here, pulling out baby book pictures of his dog.
I mean, look at it. He's cute.
Oh, this is getting embarrassing. This is the main event.
It's getting
Come on,
embarrassing.
let's get.
Listen,
Get us back on track. Come on, man.
So here we are.
If we put this thing in one of our videos, we'd be huge. I promise you right now.
Okay, wow. So listen, kind of a slow week. You know, this
Terrible.
whole not having sports on TV thing, or good sports, I should say, is kind of tough. So anyways, I think the biggest sports news of the week, gentlemen, Tiger Woods rolling over a car.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Reactions. What do you guys think?
I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah. So I'll talk about the accident from a fireman's standpoint here.
I was kind of hoping you would dig into that a little bit.
But so, the first thing that, was reported was that the jaws of life were used to get him out of the car. And I'd sit there and I look at the wreck. Jaws of life were not used. Now we're getting the, more accurate reports. It looks to me like he has a large sunroof there, and it looks like they used that sunroof to get him out. And now the reports are coming across saying, they used an axe and a pry bar. My guess is they probably used what we call a crash axe, not like something that you would use to chop lumber with. This is almost like a hatchet type thing that's designed specifically almost for cutting glass out of the car. So I could easily see them, that's how that is most likely. I would say that's how they got him out of the car. He has, I'll switch hats, put paramedic hat on, take the fireman hat off, and his injuries to his leg are pretty significant. He has multiple fractures to the same leg, which is kind of a big deal. And the bones were open to the air. So it was an open fracture. So, we probably would would call it a trauma alert here. I don't know what they would call it in California, but that means that here he would have been taken immediately to a trauma. Not all hospitals are created the same, but you can lose a lot of blood just in your femur. You break your humerus, and you can lose an awful lot of blood. Well, it can be life threatening. Depending on, if the artery was severed. And I also understand that they had to do a procedure to relieve the pressure. And what happens sometimes, things, your limbs start to swell and you get into what's called compartment syndrome. And essentially, you're just not getting good oxygen exchange. Blood's going in, but maybe it's not coming out like it's supposed to. So they have to go in there and maybe even sometimes just a matter of relieving pressure, reestablishing, distal pulses, something on those lines, but, really and truly, it sounds like not only did they save his life, but they probably also saved his leg. Mm. So, it sounds like he was, in a serious accident. His recovery is not going to be, easy. Mm. He has a long road to hoe here.
So, I know TSG, and you also have probably some experience pulling up on some big accidents like this. So you are the chief. Like, the reports from the sheriff's officer who was first on the scene said the guy is lucid. I'm thinking, like, if I got bones sticking out from my legs, I don't know that I'm just like having a conversation with this dude.
Well, doesn't shock set in at that point where you just...
Yeah, you get an adrenaline rush when something like that happens. And there's been many, many stories out there where people walk around with a broken leg and, and stuff. You're just so jacked up that you don't feel that pain yet. It's coming. It's probably won't be that long. And, but, the pain's coming. But yeah, that makes sense, and he's got a personality probably where he's just like, all right, well, let's get out of this. Some people, they flip out on Chief.
Well,
and then some people,
I think the guy has an insane ability to compartmentalize stuff. I mean, in this situation, that probably could have helped him, I guess. But what was, as the news reports were coming in and you guys first learned of the accident, what were like some of your first thoughts? Like, be honest, like what were some of your first thoughts?
Well, because he didn't have any, there were no skid marks. There were no signs of braking at all. I'm thinking, all right, when he was in a dangerous part of, there's a lot of wrecks on that turn in that area there. So I'm thinking, okay, he fell asleep 1, 2, he was racing and just kind of didn't drive well enough and went off. But you'd think that in that scenario, though, that you would get a break in there or something. The officer said he didn't seem like he was under the influence at all. I don't know what the reports have come back on that, but it didn't seem like that was the case. So my best thing is he was either sleeping or maybe he was under the influence of something. What do you think, Chief?
So, I mean, I had no information about him being under the influence. I don't have any reason to believe that. But what I do know is that I have seen it multiple times where we take a patient to the hospital and I know that they didn't survive it. They've already stopped working them, and the news for hours later is still reporting that they're in critical condition. They've been taken to the hospital, and it's a matter of notifying next of kin and I don't know exactly what else goes into all that before they do their press release. Okay. But I know it can take hours. From when I heard about the extent of his injuries and everything else, I was really concerned for his life. I didn't know if this is a situation where we're going to hear, we took him to surgery and he didn't make it. Or, look at what happened to Alex Sink, he had, another, compound fracture to his leg, and that turned bad, a week or so later, where sepsis and everything else stepped in. Yeah. So, I'm not sure that he's out of the woods on this yet. He's always in the woods because he is. But you know what I'm saying, though. I think that, when I say he's got a long road to hoe, I mean, just recovering from this, that's one thing, to be able to get up and walk again, or I don't know, who knows about playing golf. But, he's still got to survive this. He's still got, some real questions that haven't been answered and won't be answered, probably for a couple of weeks.
Probably for a couple of weeks, yeah.
The open, when the leg open, you have an open fracture and the skin breaks. Now you're, like Chief said, you're worried about infection. That's one of the big things. That's why burns are the same way, because it opens the skin. Infection is a huge problem. And he's going to have so much atrophy when he's healing. His muscles are going to shrink. And so it's going to be a long time before he has strength to do any kind of like golfing or something like that. It's going to be a while.
So, and he was already recovering from back
injury. Yeah. Well, who knows what condition his back is in now.
Right.
He's had I think he's had 5 back surgeries. The spinal fusion thing was the big one that he recovered from and eventually went on to win the Masters. That was his, big recovery. I'll be honest, like my first initial reactions as reports were coming in, I wasn't in a position where I could read them. So I was just getting like the push notifications on my phone that he was involved in a major accident. And my first, shame on me. My first was, some sort of, he was induced by, drugs or
I don't think that's that far off base given his past.
Well, he has been arrested before for that.
Right.
And I read an article. Go ahead, Pooh Bear. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, because I got the same push notifications and I didn't read them. And now for us on the East Coast, it was in the afternoon, but it was claiming that it was a single car accident in the morning. So like you, my first thought was, man, he might have been impaired somehow, coming home late from a club, right? Because early in the morning to us, it's time to go to work for me, but for a lot of people, especially celebrities, that's come home time. So, and then the other key factor was a single car incident. Normally, if there's a collision, it could be anything. But when they say single car, it usually means you just kind of, went off the road. So I was in the same boat you were. And I don't think there's any shame in that at all. I think it's validated given his past.
Yeah. TSG, to your point, the reports are starting to come out as recent as today that a lot of, experts in this field are saying he likely had fallen asleep.
Yeah. Well, so what I heard was that he was on his way to meet Drew Brees to film some stuff for the Discovery Channel. He's been doing a series. As a matter of fact, he was just with a basketball player the day before, or maybe the night before, and he was going out to continue this filming. His directors and producers and people had already gone to the golf course to start to set up, and he was running late. So to me, that says he probably already had enough sleep. He was just running late. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it was he was running late in unfamiliar roads in a rental car, but B, he may have been texting someone to say, hey, I'm close. I'm going to be somewhere soon. That would be, I mean, obviously we're just speculating and it's really kind of unfair, but that's what we're doing. We're just speculating.
Yeah. Well, certainly they did toxicology reports on him when he got to the hospital as they were preparing him for hours and hours of major surgery. Article I read this afternoon said that the sheriff's office hasn't subpoenaed those toxicology reports, and at this point doesn't sound like they have any desire to.
Right.
Even though when he got pulled over in Miami, it wasn't that long ago. Within the last year or two, he had multiple drugs in his system.
Mm-hmm.
A number. It was like 3 or 4 different drugs. But listen, I'm not going to judge a guy for that. Like, one of them's Ambien. Some people have a hard time sleeping. There was another one, I think,
painkiller.
Yeah, painkiller. The guy's just had multiple surgeries. I mean, those are probably regular narcotics that somebody could possibly have. Doesn't necessarily mean he was abusing them.
Right.
And I think, everybody's first sentiment when I brought this topic up was we're thankful he's okay. Let's not forget this guy's a father, right? He's not just the greatest, baddest golfer of all time. He's a father. He's also,
a son.
So he's human. We don't care to look at him that way all the time because he's a sports superstar. But
Right.
Here's the one thing I'll say about Tiger. I've learned to never count this guy out.
Nope. What a tremendous recovery story this has the potential to be. Like Chief just laid it out. He's got numerous problems with walking again, possibly. We don't know about his back, being that it's recovering. He could come back in a fashion to win a tournament and just seal the deal on his legacy. I mean, he was already a tremendous Hall of Fame type golfer, arguably the greatest golfer ever to live. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he could just kind of cement that whole thing. And you mentioned it earlier too, B-Love, about his ability to compartmentalize and just kind of focus. I don't think any of us would be shocked if he came back and won a tournament of some sort.
Yeah, I would like to see it.
Nobody
exactly, because he's good for golf. I would love to see it
too. Yeah, I mean, he's good for sports,
yes.
Golf or whatever. I just think here's the sad part is, the guy he took a serious derailment, years ago when he first started getting into some problems in his marriage. And that just for whatever reason, things happen that I don't want to say the guy can't get out of his own way, because I don't think not all of these mistakes were made by him. Some of them his body breaking down or whatever. But I think for the most part, people love to root for this guy, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel about him or whatever, people love to root for this guy
or root against him. People will tune in on a Sunday when he's playing and in contention just to see him fail, if he might, hoping that he would fail.
That doesn't happen very often.
I don't know. I like to see
it doesn't. And I've had my kind of emotional struggles with should I support someone like Tiger?
Should you? Yes.
Right. He's had some things that have really aggravated me and caused concern. But the fact remains, he's good for the sport of golf. I'm not going to watch a Masters tournament or even a major tournament, really, that he's not involved in right now. It just doesn't.
Yeah, well, so you probably did not see today that a lot of the PGA Tour members, the players today, took the course on Sunday in black pants and red shirts, a la Tiger Woods. To show their support. I thought that was a pretty cool move.
Yeah, that's a class act right there.
Yeah, that's a class act for them to run out there like that. So, parting shot, Pooh Bear, you were telling us before we got on that the football thing here is that you said he was going to do some filling with Drew Brees, but people who were there said Drew was training pretty hard.
Drew has been working out. And there's some video of it, I think, on social media, Instagram or something, that kind of shows the way he's working out. And it doesn't seem to be the way someone that plans on retiring would work out. It was more of a, hey, it's July in a couple of weeks. I need to work out.
Time to
So
get ready.
Drew may
Chief,
not be
that's
done.
Chief, that's like, hey, I'm training to do a Spartan working out and just working out. Right? They are two different things, are they?
They are
not?
two
Yes.
different things. You're right about that. So,
All right.
man, I really hope that Drew Brees is going to retire, man. That's just another hurdle that the Buccaneers have to overcome again.
All Buccaneer fans want Drew Brees to retire.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I mean, right out into the sunset, man. You deserve it. All right. So, hey, did you guys see this week an American Airlines pilot who radioed in a UFO sighting?
Yes, I saw it. Did you listen to Did you listen to the tape?
I listened to the tape. Yeah, he's like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
So, the first thing obviously I don't know air lingo, but the first thing I hear is, do you have any targets up here? That sounds to me like a military guy. So I think this guy, he's probably flown a lot and seen, he's comfortable in the seat is what I'm trying to say here, and then he comes up and he's like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but, here goes, this cylindrical object just came cruising over my plane. And, of course, the air traffic control guys are like, no, man, we don't have anything here. And he goes, looks kind of like a cruise missile.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about that is they were in New Mexico, the airspace, which, I mean, the U.S. has
White Sands.
White Sands is a missile range.
Well, either they're firing stealth missiles now, because I think a missile that size would have shown up on the air traffic control's radar, and he said he didn't see it.
Listen, I would have to imagine that the United States military has weapons we don't know about.
Oh, they definitely have things we don't know about, and they definitely fly them without telling us.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there was a sighting. It's been a month or so now. I think it was in Florida, and a lot of people saw it. It was kind of a behind the clouds, but you could see like a streak, almost like a shuttle that took off or something. And so people were asking. There was a lot of footage of it. People from their cell phones and stuff. So it got to the news, and the news said, "Yeah, we contacted the Navy, and they said they launched a missile, for testing or whatever. But they just didn't tell anybody beforehand because they can't tell because North Korea might be watching or China might be watching or what have you." Lost the Chief here. Might be the power outage. I heard him say, "Uh-oh."
Chief gone. So, the interesting thing about wasn't that was over the Gulf of Mexico, I believe I saw that story.
It may have been. I didn't really pay that much.
Let's talk basketball.
Sorry. Yes. All right. You start, PSG.
Pretty sure LA's in the lead, and they're going to win it all. KD's out hurt, and
that's all you got.
And New Jersey's actually winning without him. That's all I know.
All right. Well, how are the Tampa Bay Raptors doing? PSG.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, they decided to finish out their season here. They're not going back to Toronto.
Well, it's after the Lightning winning a Stanley Cup and the Rays going to the World Series and the Bucks winning the Super Bowl, it's a smart move.
And the Blue Jays are going to play in Dunedin, which is their normal training home.
Are they going to play the whole season in Dunedin?
I believe that's a done deal. Yes, sir.
Wow, weren't they the Buffalo Blue Jays last year?
Yes, they were. I was going to say it was the football team, but no, it was the
Dunedin's going to be a much nicer place for them to play.
Rays played today.
They did and won.
They had a spring training game today. Yeah.
Austin Meadows is on pace to hit 24 spring training home runs.
Yes.
Yes.
That's how we do it.
Hey, part-timer.
There it is. That's the evidence that we've been looking for right there. I don't know what you guys were talking about. I was just about to ask the question about, do you think UFOs are for real? And I lost my internet connection. Somebody just took me out of the game, tried to take me out of the game here. They don't want us talking about that.
There was a UFO on the show. There was a UFO on the show because an alien came on and started talking about NBA. And yeah, it was.
We did. We talked NBA while you're gone.
Wow.
Yeah, we're done though. We're already done. That's a
good segment.
Hey, Javier says he spotted somebody. I don't know what this is. Saw Embiid and Ben Simmons.
That's supposed to be the JW Marriott, not the Jew Marriott. So before we get hate,
I should have proofread that.
Get hate mail.
Oh wait,
and
he corrected.
like
He corrected.
Okay,
He
thank
corrected.
you. Before we get hate mail and everything like that, let's clarify what that was.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah,
We don't
so-
want to get. I'm not sure
back
who
to this-
any of those people are, but anyway.
So going back to this UFO thing,
Yes.
it's like Pooh Bear, you just brought up another one in the military came back and said, yeah, we were test firing a missile or whatever.
Right.
Things like that happen actually quite frequently. So in this case, some ham and egger caught this radio transmission by luck, and it gets out, and American Airlines eventually comes out and says, hey, yeah, those were our pilots. And if you have any questions about the UFO sighting, contact the FBI. What do you guys think about that?
He was flying at 36,000 feet. 36,000 feet, we're talking, how many miles up is that? 5 miles?
A lot of miles.
Over 5 miles. So that's, as a matter of fact, I remember a story when we were going in for the Operation Desert Storm, maybe, or no, we were going to Baghdad, and they were going to do the shock and awe. Okay, and
Yes.
I heard a pilot talking about the fact that they were going to fly. They were flying so high that the surface-to-air missiles that they had in Iraq couldn't reach them. And he said, sure enough, they had missile lock on them, and they were launching these things, and they were getting close, and then right when they got to the point, where they thought they were going to be a goner, it ran out of gas. So what I'm saying is, it takes a lot of fuel, a lot of energy to send something up, 36,000 feet and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So you're speculating that it's either military or foreign.
Foreign
As an alien.
Why not? Why not? This guy, I think, has seen. I feel like this guy has seen his share of things in the sky, and he didn't recognize it. And he felt the need to call it in.
Yeah. Well, so that begs the question: do you believe in UFOs?
As in green guys, cone heads and everything else? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, man.
By definition, I do, because all it is an unidentified flying object, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be anything. Not at 37,000 feet, I understand, but at different altitudes, a homemade a consumer drone like I've got. They have some that people make and manufacture themselves. They have RC planes. They have weather balloons. They have all these different things that, upon sight, and you can't identify it, instantly becomes an unidentified flying object. So I think all of these things are that way. It's just that whoever is supposed to be identifying it could not identify it for whatever reason.
Well, Pooh Bear could not have walked more on the line on that question.
Yeah,
No,
the question
I-
here
he
is, do you
just-
believe in aliens?
He's
I
over
heard
here.
another
He's
species.
like balancing it. I got it.
Yeah. I heard Pooh Bear say that it's all can be explained,
Yes.
by some
can-
form other than,
Yes.
aliens.
Yes, it is not aliens.
Not
Put
aliens.
it that way.
Okay, so you're saying there is no life outside of Earth?
There is no life outside of Earth that is intelligent enough to transport themselves to our planet and fly around in our atmosphere. How about that?
Okay. TSG?
I definitely think that there's some life out there somewhere. I don't think we're just the center of the universe here, and that's it. I think there's too much out there, too much possibility for another planet to have some life. I don't know how intelligent it would be, but I think there's some life out there. I don't think we've ever seen it here.
to get a little deeper on you, I'm running a risk here.
He's going to quit walking the tightrope. Here it
No,
comes.
yeah, exactly.
Come on, jump on in, man.
So no matter
Are you going
which,
to go religion? Are you going to go?
I'm going to do both.
Maybe
I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
So no matter which one you subscribe to, either intelligent design or just pure Big Bang evolution, right? No matter which one you subscribe to, the chances in the instance that, first of all, the percentages that the Big Bang happened are so out there, right? They're so small. Okay, if that's the way it was, then that's the way it was. But for evolution to happen here, the way it's believed, you're talking about bacteria going to this thing because of a certain condition, it transfers into an amoeba because of this certain condition. All these conditions are met for life to advance, right? No matter, so if that's the way you believe, and I'm not criticizing you, but that's very hard to believe that that's happened more than once. On the other side of intelligent design, if you believe that, then it's very hard to believe that the intelligent designer did it more than once, because why wouldn't you know that, right? So
that's where I was going to come down. Is I believe that, I'm not trying to preach here, but I believe that the Bible is the infallible word of God, and there's none in there about life. He created the heavens and the earth.
Well, that's not true. Remember, he talked, there's cherubim, there's seraphim, there's angels and demons. Yes. I mean, all these things, I don't know that any of those things are actually locked up in heaven or hell right now. They're all could be, right. And they could be flying around. I don't know if they can change shape, if they can look like cylindrical objects or flying discs. I don't know what those things do, but I believe that they're out there. What they are, if they're, I don't know, maybe a cherubim flew next to that plane. It was close to Valentine's Day. It's a little late, but I don't know.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow. Okay, so while we're really reaching out there,
man, when did the Rays start, man? We got
they won
today.
While we're really reaching out there, how about, did you guys catch the news this week about people who feel that either the government or Bill Gates caused the winter storms in Texas and throughout the South?
They're the same people that think there's Martians coming to capture.
They're the flat. Are they the flat earthers, Pooh Bear?
I don't know if they're flat earthers. That's been kind of proven, but I think they're the same type of folk. People that would believe that are the same type that would believe that there's an imminent threat from an alien planet coming to get us.
Pooh Bear, have you seen the videos where the guys have snowballs? They pick them with snowballs in their backyard.
I have not seen that.
And they light it on fire, and the snow turns black.
The snow melts, man.
Snow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is not normal snow. There's something weird going on. I don't know if it picked up a bunch of pollution on the way down, or if they've been seeding the clouds. A lot of people think that they were seeding clouds. How did Bill Gates cause it to snow? I'm not sure on that.
He's the one who seeded the clouds.
Oh, Bill Gates seeded the clouds. Well,
I don't know. I mean,
I wonder what the end point was on that. I wonder why he would do that.
Sell more computers has to be.
If you can control the weather that much, wouldn't we do it for something good?
No.
Right?
It's some power hungry, crazy. It would end up being a military war type, weapon is what it would end up being.
TSG though, you don't think you'd get more fame for doing it for good?
I'm telling you what it would end up being. I believe that Gates would actually try and use it for good, but once the government harnesses that, some government, I'm not saying ours, I'm just saying if it gets in the wrong hands, you could really do some damage.
It would be a huge military advantage if I could make it rain over my target, and it was like a monsoon style rain, just never ending. So they're all hunkered down, and while they're hunkered down, I'm moving my guys in position. And I'm going to come in right behind the rain and it would be, or, you make it so that the battlefield is so impassable that they can't maneuver on it.
Yeah.
Now you've got, and there's a lot of really good advantages to being able to make it rain as far as the military goes. I mean, you can flood the guy out. I mean, tanks don't float, guys. You put
we have hovercrafts. We have covercrafts.
Yeah, we have hovercraft.
Dude, I got for Christmas one year the G.I. Joe hovercraft. You guys remember that thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That thing was awesome.
I feel like this is the plot of an old James Bond movie.
Oh.
Was there a weather machine plot for James Bond at some point?
Oh, there was the Icarus thing from one of the most recent James Bond movie where the guy had like the satellite in space that would shoot down.
That was Austin Powers, bro.
No, dude.
Yeah, baby.
No, look it up. It was called. I remember it was called Icarus. It was Pierce Brosnan as James Bond.
Oh my God! You said recently.
The worst of all James Bonds.
That's been like 40 years.
The worst of all James Bond.
Dude, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. He was terrible, James Bond.
It was awful. Awful.
Yeah.
Wow.
TSG, you're about to say something before I cut in with the James Bond crap.
No. I was going to tell you that I actually saw a real hovercraft when I was in college in 1994. I lived on an ostrich farm, and the family that rented me the place I was staying in owned a big portion of the Georgia Fair.
Dude, stop. The better part of this story is the ostrich farm. I have so many questions. What does scrambled ostrich egg taste like? Have you ever ridden an ostrich like in the what's the Swiss Family Robinson? Or what does fried ostrich go with?
And I have answers for you.
I'm dead again, aren't I?
No, you're on.
No, you're on. Nope, you're wrong.
Awesome. Man, this show just got good. I couldn't wait for you to stop talking.
Are you ready? Here we go.
Please explain to me how you're living on an ostrich farm.
Guy that was going to college with, man, I was hanging out with him, and he's like, hey, do you want to rent a room and come out of the dorms? And I'm like, yeah, this guy's got girls all over the place, man, hanging around. I'm like, sure, I'm going to come live wherever this guy's living because he's always got babes. So I move out there. I get my first knock on the door like on the third day, and it's his mom. And she's like, she goes, hey, she says, we could use your help catching a couple of ostriches. We sold them and then we're shipping them over to wherever somebody bought them. And I'm like, okay. So I come out there. I'm like, they got a trailer out there inside the gate. And here are these, you get close up on these things, right? And they're like, you're like this. These things are giant. And
So I'd be looking down on them.
No. They are bigger than you, Pooh. That's the only thing on this planet I know bigger than you.
Is an ostrich?
Dude, these things are tall and they got legs that are like ham hocks. So when you go to catch them, they said, all right, when you get to them, you cannot let them get in a running. You can't let them get any momentum because they will drag you all over the yard. Their legs are too strong once they get going. You got to grab them by the tail. That big old tail. So you snatch them by the tail and then they come up and they wrap their legs. So they can't. But if they get going and they got paws and claws, dude, they will gnarly you out. I'm telling you.
Wow.
So I'm not wearing any jewelry because they will come in and just bow. Dude, they did it. It got me. So I'm like, so then they have this scaring thing that they scare them away when they start to get aggressive or whatever. So I get this tail. I got a hold of it, right? I'm like, get him. I'm yelling. And like, I don't feel like they're moving fast enough. They're supposed to know how to do this. And this thing starts pulling me. I'm telling you right now, you're like skiing. Legs are sliding. And this thing's pulling you around. Dude, they're big and they're scary. And I was a 50%er. 50% of the shots I took at slowing one down I got. And we put two in the trailer. But
all right, so listen. Did you ride an ostrich?
No, I did not ride an ostrich.
Hey, I think we were talking just a week or so ago about who was the first guy who was like, let's see if we can ride that bull.
Right.
Certainly someone has tried to ride an ostrich.
They did in the Swiss Family Robinson. They rode it.
Yeah. And in the video game Joust.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I feel like we need to go do this. There needs to be an ostrich roundup somewhere around here. We can go do it.
Two things. One, GoldenEye's 28 years old, by the way, Mr. recent James Bond.
Wow.
I wasn't talking GoldenEye, first of all.
Okay. And secondly, there is a ostrich and emu farm on North Valrico Road.
Really?
I'm not even kidding. It's just past Chris and Joe Donato's old place.
Let's do it, man event.
Just past your old place, Clifford.
That's what I'm trying to feel. I'm like, where in the world is an ostrich farm? This is more than 7 miles from where I live now. So I'm trying to figure out where this is at.
Well, it's just down the street because I remember vividly staying out on the back patio with those two guys, just having some fun.
I feel a man event vlog coming on.
hearing
yeah.
some noises, and I'm like, "What the heck is that?" And they're like, "It's the emu farm. They've got emus in Austria." And I knew a girl who worked on it.
What?
She worked it. Yeah, I remember.
Have you looked this up? Is it still there?
I have no idea. I think it's private.
listen,
I don't think it's like a public place. It's
the
somebody's
James
house.
Bond I'm talking about is Die Another Day. It's the
That's
one that
even older.
Halle Berry in it.
Oh.
She was the Bond girl in the movie. It was 2002, which still makes it old.
So while he's looking that up, I'll continue the story. I worked at a
too.
New Orleans style snowball stand in the middle of this town, Hawkinsville, next to the college town. That's how I got to know everybody. And
Because you're the snowball guy.
I was the New Orleans style snowball guy at 19 years old. That's how I met the ladies, man. You know?
I don't understand. You had a snowball stand?
Yeah, so in this little small town up in Georgia, all they do is drive around, right? On the weekends, they stop at they turn around at the Piggly Wiggly, and then they turn around at the Handy Andy. And I was at the Handy Andy parking lot making snowball stands and lemonade for this guy. I worked for him for $10 an hour. That was good money back then.
Not like a picked up snow out of the yard and made a snowball. You were making snow cones, man.
Yeah, snow cones, man. Chocolate, strawberry, orange, lemonade.
Dude,
man.
Your story could not get any more hillbilly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Piggly Wiggly, the Handy Dandies, the Georgia, the New Orleans style, the ostriches, the wrestling. This
you do whatever you got to do to survive in college, man.
This sounds. Does anybody have their teeth? I mean, this sounds like Polk County. Was meth involved?
This guy had all the ladies following him around, man. The son.
Now, hey, listen. By the way, TSG. Now, people who are in college, they sell plasma. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
They do. Yeah, they do.
They sell plasma instead of making snow cones
next to the tile shop.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those days are over. I made a good lemonade. I'm gonna tell you guys. I made a good lemonade.
You're the guy at the ball game that's shaking it.
Oh yeah.
Snow cone here. Snow cone.
When I got about
dude, me and the Dr. Pepper guy were one and the same. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's sweet.
Sweet.
Wow. All right. So can we talk about actual sports for a minute?
Yes.
Let's move on.
God,
Which one?
42 minutes it took us to get to sports.
Well, we hit Tiger Woods right out of the gate.
Well, Tiger,
yeah.
And NBA.
Okay, well,
and a little Drew Brees.
Yeah. So the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're on a 4-game win streak. Before that, the 4 games, they lost 3 of 4.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened? Like what's going on in the last couple of games that this team's started to turn this around a little bit? Not that they're having a bad season, but
well, it's definitely hard for us to see because their television contractor, Fox Sports Sun, has decided to only partner with one cable service in our area.
Yeah.
And I believe that's it. What was the other one I sent you, Belov? I sent you like a link for 2.
Like AT&T is one of them. Like you can get the AT&T web-based version.
Yeah, I don't think that's even available here. And then one of the 2 big cable contractors, Spectrum Cable, carries it still, which that could end any day depending on what the negotiations with Fox Sports. So I don't know who's to blame. I don't really care at this point. I just need for Fox Sports Sun and Fox Sports Florida to tell me the best way to get their service, because the Rays are about to start. And this is also the same service that carries the Rays, the Marlins, the Heat, and the Magic, and the Lightning, and the Panthers. So this is, a big deal for Florida sports fans, especially in the summertime. So that being said, I haven't been able to actually view a lot of the games to find out what's happening with the team. I have seen some internet clips and things like that. It just seems like there was just a rough patch. They went through a week off where they were supposed to play in Dallas due to the storm, and I think Dallas also had some COVID issues. They bumped those games back. They went to the next few games in their schedule, which was Carolina, and they had to travel to Carolina, and they played I think 5 games in a row against Carolina. Almost like some sort of a playoff series. And they won 3-2, if you're counting that. But, the fact is that, they were out of sorts a little bit, weren't sure who they were playing. Maybe that had something to do with it. I know they played their backup goalie a couple of nights to give Vasilevsky some rest. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it.
Well, it's the only guy who actually can watch the Lightning, and it's good.
and you're not.
I have it too.
Yeah, and in my well, I can't really brag on Spectrum because, as you can tell, my internet's gone out twice tonight here already during the show. I've been bumped off, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But you know what you guys did miss? You guys missed Ross Colton. You know, Ross Colton is, rookie guy, gets out there in his first game, his first shot on goal goes in. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for the guy. I mean, for every shot after that is just, downhill for the rest of his career.
Yeah, it's like the guy who hit 2 grand slams in his college debut.
There's nowhere to go but down.
In terms of like first shift goals, I'll never, ever forget that Stamkos goal in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes. That's the only time he played the entire Stanley Cup. He comes in there, scores. It's like a stick drop. He's like, I'm done.
Mic drop.
Yep. I'm out.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like the Lightning were just gassed. I mean, they're playing 80 games. These guys are getting hit day in and day out, and they hadn't been doing really well. They maybe let their guard down just a little bit. And, they probably had a team meeting and said, all right, guys, enough's enough. It's time to go ahead and put some more W's on the board. We're playing Dallas. These are the guys that we played in the Stanley Cup. We've got to beat them. And, of course, they did. They came out, 5-0.
So I think Chief mentioned it, earlier about the ebb and flow of a season. And, this month they were 10-3. That's what they ended up 10-3. So, for February, which is still really good. And they're number one. They've been battling with Carolina for the number 1 and number 2 spot. They're back in the number 1 spot, even though they have the same record, but I think they have 1 more point than Carolina has. And, the rematch that we had last year in the Stanley Cup Finals with Dallas. Dallas is last in their division there. But I think they're at, I could be wrong on this, but I think they're at like 500 still. But so they have a chance, to come back. But I agree.
They haven't played as many games.
Right. Yeah, no, they haven't. And they have a lot less, actually. Yep. I think it was 5-5. And if they've only played 10, I know we have a lot more than that.
Right.
But, I think Chief's right. The ebb and flow, it's hard to keep this pace that they keep, and then also our big factor is Vasilevsky. If he's not in there, it's a big drop down. It's a big drop off. So if he needs a break, we might find that that's going to happen.
But let's not forget, when you're number 1, everyone's gunning for you too, right? So this is the defending Cup champs. Yep. They are arguably the best team in the league right now in their division for certain. So everyone wants to beat you, as a team. Each team wants to beat the Lightning to put that notch on their belt. Yeah,
I agree. It's a tough road, to take throughout the year. But there are some trade rumors too that they're talking about trying to bring in a couple of more defensemen that are right-handed shots because they lost Shattenkirk and I think is it Chernak that's injured now? But
yes, Eric Chernak is injured. I don't know if he's day-to-day or not.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So
definitely, this is the time of the year everyone starts looking for depth.
Yep. And so they're looking for some right-handed shooting defensemen to come in and complement, because our first line we know is Hedman and Sergachev, and those guys have the ability to give us some offense if we've got some depth at defense on the other lines. Yeah.
Sergei's goal the other night, it was a thing of beauty. It was so nice. I'm so amazed at hockey players, just their athleticism and ability to control the puck on the end of a stick. It's mind blowing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's a sport. I think that's a sport I could play pretty easily. I could pick it up pretty easily.
No, I can't.
No doubter. It's a no doubter.
That's a no doubter.
I'm 200 pounds on the top, 100 pounds on the bottom. It doesn't. The laws of science tell you.
Pooh Bear, I think you'd be a great goaltender.
You know what? I probably could if they didn't have to wear skates.
They just run they sit there the whole time. It'd be all right.
Oh no, they go. Vasilevsky is very mobile.
He gets way too far outside the net for me, man. I mean, he's way out there. You're going, dude, get back. Come on, man.
He gets you a little puckered, Chief.
He does get me puckered. I'm like, come on, man.
But they've got those things with like spikes you can put on your shoes and stuff. I can get a pair of tennis shoes and put some spikes on them.
Those Crompton, are they Crompton?
About that.
Something like that. They're called. Yeah.
But I don't know if I could handle like a 120-mile slap shot coming at me. That's.
If it's on my glove hand,
if it hits you, I'm not coming back from that. You know what? I'm tapping out. Let's go.
I'm down. I'm hit. I'm hit.
Get somebody else in here, man. That hurt. I'm going home.
Man, I'm coming home. Weezy, I'm coming home.
I got Charlie everywhere.
Okay, listen. So let's end the show. Let's end the show on this. Well, we might have a little bit more time, but let's probably end the show on this. Dude, what in the heck is going on when we've got to make Mr. Potato Head gender neutral?
Come on, man. This is all right. Listen, I'm going to say this, okay?
Go for it.
I'm going to say, okay, first of all, essentially these are Democrats. I hate to make this political. These are essentially Democrats. So I'm just going to say they're just Democrats out there. And for all we've heard for the last year is follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. I'm going to break this down for you real easy, guys. Okay? If you have an X and a Y chromosome, you're a male. That's science.
A potato, man. We're talking about science. A potato, though.
But it goes beyond that. I know it's only a potato, man, but there's no male and female potato. But the fact of the matter is, it's all political. It's just another. Our people were talking about it, all over the old interweb about, congratulations to Hasbro for finally getting on board. I'm like, doggone it, man, it's X and Y. You got X and Y chromosome, you're male. You got 2Y, or guess what? You're female. That's science. That's real science right there. So, I mean, if you can't tell, these are the people that are, they're funding our defense. They're making laws for us. They can't tell the difference between a man and a woman. There's a problem here. And Hasbro getting in on this with the potato head thing. I had a potato. I had a Mr. Potato Head. My sister had a Mrs. Potato Head. Dude, we know where all the parts went. It's not that big of it. It's.
I always think of it this way. Listen, if you close your eyes,
and
you listen to someone talk, can you tell whether they're male or female?
Usually,
yeah.
There's a few exceptions out there. I can usually tell where you're from, right? I think I'm pretty good at hearing dialect. I can hear when someone's from, New Jersey or Pennsylvania or even from out west.
This sounds like a Man Event vlog, by the way.
It could be.
Where are you from?
We got 2 Man Event vlog ideas just tonight.
But I do a lot of phone calls and stuff with my job, and I'm talking to people from all over, and I'll call a sales representative or something and hear them speak, and I'm like, oh, what?
He's Irish.
Yeah, it sounds like you're from somewhere in the Wisconsin area. Is that where I'm calling you from or calling you at? So, but here, let me tell you why this is a genius move by Hasbro. Right? Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Nobody was talking about Mr. Potato Head yesterday.
You're true. That's so true.
Okay.
Marketing.
There were no sales for Mr. Potato Head last week or whenever this happened.
There's no bad publicity.
Bingo.
I'm gonna say this is definitely bad publicity because I wasn't gonna buy a Mr. Potato Head, but now I'm really not gonna buy a Mr. Potato Head.
Hold on, Chief, time out. Now they did. I don't know if you saw they reversed. They made a reversal, or I don't know if they made a reversal, but basically they came back and said with a clarifying statement, that there is a Mr. and a Mrs. Potato Head. However, in their marketing, they're changing the font size of the Mr. and the Mrs. part. So not to draw attention to Mr. Potato Head, but small Mr. Big Potato, small Miss Big Potato.
I didn't hear that at all either.
I did not hear that. That doesn't really help Potato Chip.
Listen, I've met Mr. Potato Head. If you go to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and you get on the Toy Story ride, you can meet Mr. Potato Head. Okay? And let me tell you, he is a he.
He checked his pants?
I'm not sure what that means. I'm really concerned about that statement right now. I don't know.
I go back to the analogy I gave about if you close your eyes and you hear somebody talk.
I'm not closing my eyes now, man. So what happens in the dark on that ride, dude?
What you heard was is it John Katzenberg is the voice of it for Toy Story the movies, I believe, who's played Cliffy in Cheers. I believe he's the voice of that. Anyway, the point being though, keeping all that out of it, Mr. Potato Head or Mrs. Potato Head were never really their anatomy was never in question, like as far as the toy went. The only thing that differentiated Mr. Potato Head from Mrs. Potato Head was a few of the accessories. Like Mr. Potato Head had a mustache, Mrs. Potato Head had a purse. These are just gender norms, which, like to Chief's point, are under attack today. They're trying to defeat those to where there is no norm for gender. But that's all Hasbro did. There was no lower end rig parts there. They were all the same. The shorts, the pants, whatever came on there. I think they're all like jean looking material or jean looking plastic pants. But besides the point, the fact is there was never any real gender discussed between the two. You just got a purse or you got the mustache. That's it.
Listen, it's been, that we are searching for content when this is what we do. You know what I'm saying?
We're never going to recover from this.
Like we would never talk about this otherwise, right? So all right, I'm going to end the show with this. Okay,
we might.
So the NFL teams have until March 9th, which is roughly 10 days, to declare franchise tags. The window started earlier this week. They have until the 9th. Let's start with the Bucs. Who gets the franchise tag?
I think we all know who's going to get it. Yeah. Chris Godwin gets the franchise tag from the Buccaneers.
And Godwin
it's the one that makes the most sense.
That he is not going to take. He's not going to go play for a losing team. He said that. So, those are the teams that are.
Listen, I agree that it should be him, though. But to that argument, TSG, it sounds to me like he's willing to give us a hometown deal. Why don't we take the hometown deal and franchise tag Shaq Barrett?
Well, that's what his agent's going to be working on for sure. His agent's going to be working on getting the. And here's the other thing too. You got to remember that what an athlete says and what his agency is saying are going to be two different things. Sure. The agent's going to be looking for the biggest payday.
The agent wants to get paid more than the athlete does.
Yeah. He gets the highest percentage. So I'm sure he's already working on a long-term, multi-year deal with, probably in the top 5 paid receiver category, which is what the franchise tag is.
Well, I mean, that could be why they haven't named a franchise tag. Franchise tag yet. They may currently be negotiating.
Jason Light came out and said the other day. He said, "Look, nobody is willing to give up any money. They sound like they are, but they're talking about is restructuring their contracts and saying, hey, instead of giving me $20 million this year and then I'm out of a contract, let's go ahead and we'll give me $10 million this year and we're going to go ahead and bump it up for a couple more years." These guys aren't giving up. So you say a hometown deal. He's not getting a home. He's not going to offer us a $10 million discount for him. He's going to say, hey,
$10 million is a lot, but $1.5 million, $2 million helps with the salary cap.
Yeah, I think these guys are when you're talking Chris Godwin type number. I think the guy played for something like $800,000 this year. Okay, it's not like he was making Mike Evans style money, which he is entitled to after the last couple of years that he's had. So if he's going to go out and there's going to be a team that says, hey man, we're going to give you $10 million a year for 4 years, that's $40 million, and we're going to guarantee half of that. And then you got the Bucs that say, hey, we'd like to give you another $800,000 a year for the next 4 years. He's not going to take that deal. So I think we're going to have to franchise tag Chris Godwin, which, so then who is left out?
I think we lose Shaq Barrett.
I think we leave Shaq Barrett out too.
I think Shaq Barrett goes and gets paid.
Yeah.
He's not going to take – so Shaq Barrett had a great year last year, and then he was told, do it again and prove you can do it again. You did it 1 year. That might have been an anomaly. And then he was he was the leading guy this year too, wasn't he?
He had a decent year, but he really came through in the playoffs. Yeah. That's really defined his value.
So he proved it twice, and he is going to get his value. Whether they can pull off, I mean, I could see him getting the long-term deal, Godwin getting the short-term franchise deal. If that was, I don't know if they would be able to pull that off. And then everybody else, most of the other guys getting 1 year deals again, like Sue and some of the other like Stu and JPP or JP. Yeah.
Hey, question: Don't they have to sign Levante David too? Is he not a free agent?
He's gone.
So here's my thing. Don't you think that it's easier to find a wide receiver than it is to find a Levante David?
No. I believe that first of all, you're talking the chemistry between the wide receiver and the quarterback has to be there. And we're talking chemistry, timing, route running, all this stuff. These guys are communicating with each other, with like a nod or a look. And that is something that takes time to build. That's why the Bucs often struggled the first half of the year. Remember, they didn't have training camp. They didn't have time to build that.
Yeah. They had the Billy Goat playing quarterback.
They did have the Billy Goat playing quarterback. You dropped the Billy, but a middle linebacker. Those guys, still need chemistry. They still need to communicate. Much less though on the timing and everything else. That it's not as finesse as a quarterback and wide receiver are.
Okay.
You're talking about these guys. You're talking about, am I going to throw the ball over your left shoulder? Or am I going to throw it over your right shoulder? Whereas middle linebacker is just like, I'm going to tackle you. Yeah. I'm going to put both shoulders on the ground.
So, and Chiefs. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pooh.
I was just going to say it's no easy task for the management of the Buccaneers this year. They've got a lot of free agents. They're going to have a lot of potential free agents coming in that want to play here with this team, and they see how enabled this team is and how prepared they are and ready for another run. The talent level is not going to get worse on this team. It's going to stay the same or get better. So it's not an envious job, but that's what they get paid to do. They're going to get there and figure this out. They're going to back end load some contracts. I'm sure there may be some bad contracts for the Buccaneers in the next 5 years. After this kind of run is done, and we start to see the negative effects of this 5 years down the road. All
right, so here I got a show topic for next week because we're out of town for time for today. What if we spend some time next week? Pooh Bear, you brought up there's a lot of players who now want to be Buccaneers because of the recent success that they've had and the veteran leadership they're getting from Tom Brady. Of those who have come out and said, hey, I'd like to be a Buccaneer next season, who do we least want?
Ooh.
Let's talk about it next week.
Okay.
All right. I like it.
Hey, if anyone wants to if wants to learn about what happens when your house floods, and you want the inside scoop, because this usually doesn't happen to most people once in their life, but when it does, it's just so foreign to everybody. I give you the scoop on a lot of that stuff. These restoration companies, how it all works, the National Flood Insurance Program, FEMA, got the inside scoop if we ever want to go that route.
I hope I never need it.
How about it?
Fingers crossed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. We're at our hour mark. We will be back next week at 7:00 for your entertainment pleasure. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and like and subscribe. It really helps us out as far as you telling YouTube what you like and what to suggest to other people that are just like you, sitting out there waiting for us. All right, we will see you next week at 7. Good night.